Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shri Sulur.
Good morning. All right. Did you guys have a party last night? And you guys still showed up here this morning, huh? Aspirin must work wonders these days. With that said, I want to start with a few questions, right? So, how many of you here have smartphones? Come on, it's just a simple exercise. Everybody should, right? Okay. It's tough to ask this question the other way. How many of you carry dumb phones? People can get a wee bit offended. But then, what I want to show you is a slide that was put up by Mary Meeker a couple of years ago about how revolutionary mobile has been. If you look at technologies in the last 100 years, there have been 4 technologies that have achieved critical mass. In the 1920s, it was AM radio. In the 50s, television. Early 2000, it was the internet. And since that family company went out of business, Lehman Brothers, in 2008, it's been the rise of mobile. What's been interesting is all this has happened in and around times of economic recession or depression in the Western economies. That's the most interesting part. But it doesn't end there. What's the world's population? Someone take a shot. 7+ billion and growing. So the total number of mobile subscribers is 5.4 billion. That's really interesting, because if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs for a human, which starts with dignity, water, food, shelter, and then analyze the number of people in this world below the poverty line, you will quickly see with the mobile penetration that the Maslow's hierarchy of needs has changed. It's now, dignity, water, food, mobile, and then shelter, right? So the social dynamics has changed at this point in time. In addition to that, if you actually follow through and figure this out, you will see that the number of people on social media and number of smartphone subscribers has a 1-to-1 correlation. It's very interesting, right? For the last 3 years, I've been tracking the number of people who use smartphones and number of people on social networking. If you actually map that out and run an autocorrelation function, a correlation function, you will see it's almost equivalent to 1. It's a very interesting dynamic. So it's not only the rise of mobile, but there is also a rise of social media and people participating in social media. It doesn't end there. The adoption of the cloud has also increased. Before 2008, cloud was a very sexy name. But now, who would have thought that the CIA would actually give a huge contract, a $600 million contract, not to some of the bigger companies, but to a company like Amazon Web Services, right? So there has been an adoption of the cloud. And you will also see, multiple services that we are offering from the HP cloud itself. So lots of enterprises have actually adopted the cloud. So it's not just mobile, but you also have to add social and cloud to that. And in addition to that, the best way to deliver value, create and deliver value, has been the rise of data with analytics. So if you actually take a deep breath, step back, and actually watch, during the times of economic recession, if you had focused on 4 technologies, mobile, social, cloud, and analytics, you would have actually done pretty well. So with that said, I also want to share with you something else. There has been an explosion of devices. if you actually look at what's going on, since 2010, you're talking about 5 billion devices. But by the time you go to 2020, just look at what's going on. There has been an explosion of devices where we are connecting the physical world with the digital world as such. That is really huge. And that's happening with the world that we call IoT. Before I go into that, I want to spend some time on the slide. The year is 2010. Most of the money was made in and around the box. You had PCs, you had desktops, tablets just came on board, you had smartphones. But then the money was made around the box. You had Intel with the chips, Microsoft with the operating system, and then you had the cloud. It was just hanging out there, not really very well connected. You had content, you had Netflix, you had e-commerce that was relevant, but there was not much of a connection. The year is 2014. From 300 million devices, I'm talking about PCs and desktops, you have moved to the world where there are 3 billion devices. And look at what's happened. What's happened to Intel and Microsoft out there? In terms of chipsets, are you still making the same kind of money that you made on the chipsets that you sold for PCs? No. What about operating systems? Other than Microsoft today, right, there is no other vendor who charges for an operating system. In fact, since December, I spoke at Discover in Barcelona. Right? Between December and now, you will see that shift has already happened in Microsoft, right? Because for certain form factors, the operating system is free. So things are changing there. And you know what has happened? There is the third C that has gone into the cloud, which is the community aspect. And if you want to make money, you just can't make money around the box. You have to go beyond the box to make money. The margins are beyond the box. The year now is 2016. You moved from 3 billion to 30 billion. 300, 3 billion, and 30 billion. And now what you will see is most of the margins that are made is now moving into the world of the cloud. And what you will see is the fourth C that has been added. You have content, commerce, community, and most importantly, what we call as context. So that is a huge shift. And this era where there's an explosion of devices, moving into like 1 trillion devices, where context plays a huge role, where we connect physical objects to the world of digital, is the world of Internet of Things. Right? So we are moving away from the era of glass slabs into the era of what we call as enchanted objects, where things are done for you and not exactly done by you, right? So going to the introduction, right? This would not have happened without a platform or what I call as a perfect storm of mobile, social, cloud, and analytics coming together. And out of that, Internet of Things has basically like catapulted ahead. So you're moving away from the era of glass slabs to the era of enchanted objects. So with that said, I want to talk to you about the fourth C, what we call as context. And I want to cite a few examples here. Context is awfully interesting because it is a function of your attitudinal, your preferential aspects put together and things being done for you. I'll give you another example. In the Western economy, on an average day, you come across 32 sensors. In the next 3 years, that's going to increase in 2 magnitudes. I lived in the city of London. They say that you're photographed 300 times every day. I try to smile all the time. I want to look good in those photographs, right? So when I say that, that's going to increase. You're going to have sensors all around you. And of course, you're going to create and deliver value by analyzing the data, the deluge of data that comes out from these sensors that's going to be stored in the cloud. How many of you know the story about Tesla and New York Times? You know, it's a very interesting story, and I'm going to tell that story once again. Last winter, a New York Times journalist, New York Times, known for journalistic integrity, took the Tesla in the dead of winter to drive from Connecticut to Delaware on the Eastern Corridor. And this journalist had this little red book, made notes, and came back with an article which said Tesla was not ready for prime time for, you know, the winters. Elon Musk challenged that right away with a blog. And basically, he proved that the journalist actually went around a parking lot 40-odd times once. And the second thing was he did not charge the battery to 100%. He only charged up to 26%. And all this was possible because the car was sending data back to the cloud. But it does not end there. You know, this opens up a world of possibilities and a world of disruption in every industry vertical. A lot of you here represent, you know, big industries, you know, retail, travel, transportation, hospitality, manufacturing. Every industry is going to go through a transformation. In this specific example, if the car is going to send continuous data, this can change the leasing industry. Today, when I lease a car, you know, I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. I might pay, let's say, $5,000 due at signing, pay $600 a month. But then, if my car is sending data back, you know, what could happen is, based on how much I drive from the epicenter every day, based on my driving habits, my lease rates could go up and down. This process is called liquefaction of industries. Pick any industry, whether it's retail, travel, transportation, hospitality, manufacturing. There's a new word in the world of VCs called bot sourcing, wherein, you know, robots basically work with human beings, learn how to do certain chores, and then you have this middle layer wherein you can distribute the work that needs to be done between humans and bots. The word is bot sourcing, and that's happening at this point in time. So every industry is going through a massive, massive transformation. And I want to give you other examples. Most importantly, wearables. I don't know if any part of the human body is left. Unfortunately, every part of the human body is taken for wearables. There are 146 odd wearables today. You know, this morning, just before I came in here, I looked at the directory of, you know, the wearables today. Everything from head to toe, all parts of the body are taken. That's going to change the health insurance, the way, you know, health insurance as we see it, for example, in the United States. That's going to change, right? Based on how much you work out, what you eat, things are going to change. I, in fact, even read about, you know, the Internet of Toilets, you know, wherein there can be certain analysis that can be done automatically, you know, and it's about predictive, right? We go to a doctor when we fall sick. That's not right. We do preventive maintenance on a car. Why can't we do preventive maintenance on the human body? How many of you have sequenced your, like, DNA? It's $99, 23andMe. You should do it. You know, check it out. It's just $99. That's possible today. So when it comes to health insurance, things have changed. Home warranty and connected home, huge. You know, there is a tsunami of solutions today with home automation, connected home, and I'll give you some examples. In addition to that, we are displacing incumbents. Tesla is challenging Michigan, Detroit. In addition to that, you're creating new value pools and saving lives. There are 1.5 million people who are going to die in car accidents by 2025, 1.5 million every year. If you look at semi-autonomous and autonomous driving vehicles, there has just been one accident. That was because of human error. So think about what's going to happen to car insurance. That industry is going to change drastically, and you're going to save lives. So if you're looking at technologies that's going to save lives, change lives, displace incumbents, rearrange value pools, and create trillion-dollar impact, you're talking about the world of Internet of Things. And to play in the world of Internet of Things, you need to have a strong play in the world of analytics. And you know what we have done as a company in terms of investing in analytics and big data. You know what we are doing as a company focusing on the cloud. With that said, I want to give you a couple of quick examples. I try to run without being chased. I train for marathons. And I also have a busy schedule. And every time I need to get a run in, it has to go on my calendar. The only Outlook I have in life is called Microsoft Outlook, right? Because if it doesn't get into the calendar, it's tough to get things done. But then I also have a training program that I have. If automatically, depending on what I'm doing, depending on where I live and where I am at that point in time, if a system can actually put stuff in my calendar, and let's say I'm in a mall, and it can tell me, hey, why don't you walk around or run around a certain location, wherever I am, so that I can get my, my exercise in, that might be helpful. So that's one example. Home automation, you will see there's a lot of stuff being imbued within a lighting fixture, whether it's with Philips, Sensity, General Electric, a right place to put all the sensors and beacons. So we don't have to worry about battery life, right? When you put Bluetooth beacons, you throw in, and what if the battery dies on those? So you can actually see scenarios that as you walk in, based on proximity, your door gets unlocked. You can actually go in, and it automatically adjusts your home temperature, depending on your workout schedule and things like that. Depending on what's in your refrigerator, automatically things can be ordered, recipes can be presented, and you will see a lot of stuff being done for you and not being done by you, going ahead. With that said, what I want to do is I want to go back to the economic impact. We started with the economy, correct? Since 2008. If you actually see companies that's focused on social, mobile, cloud, and analytics, you will see that those companies have done phenomenally well. At the very least, do me a favor and add those 4, tag words into your resumes. Trust me, you will get a lot more views on LinkedIn, right? With that said, I want to quickly summarize. In our lifetime, what we have seen is one of the most revolutionary technologies in the industry, which is the rise of mobile. It's displaced the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In addition to that, there has been a perfect storm of social, mobile, cloud, and analytics coming together, creating this perfect storm. And catapulting from this storm is the world of Internet of Things. And what Internet of Things is doing is fairly straightforward. It is changing lives. It'll change all our lives. And it is displacing incumbents, rearranging value pools, and most importantly, it's going to bring in a huge impact, a $1 trillion+ impact on what we do. And at any point in time, if you have any questions on this, feel free to DM me. Or I'm going to stay out, and I can talk to you specifically on what we are attempting to do. But remember, if you want to play in the world of IoT, you need to have a strong presence with the cloud. You need to have a very strong presence in analytics, because you create and deliver value based on the data that you collect and the patterns that you see. The most important natural resource in this world is not diamonds, but don't tell that to your wife or your spouses. It is data. Collect data in everything that you do and mine it. Thank you.